I just wanted to engage a little bit more in this conversation that we had, both about the previous amendment and about my good friend from North Carolina's concern about this particular program called Know Your Farmer, Know Your Food. I have the great privilege of serving on the Agriculture Committee. I've heard the Secretary speak to us about his interest in increasing the number of farms in our country, in getting to know our farmers better, and making sure people have more knowledge about where their food comes from. I have to just stand back and say for a minute, you know, it's after 8:30 on a busy night. We're still in the middle of debating this bill at a time where our economy is in peril, where we have huge challenges before us. We're at war in two countries. And I just personally have to say, I am baffled by why we're even having this debate. I was baffled by why this report language would be there that slows down research on local farming, that tries to stop a program that's not even funded, that coordinates a lot of good efforts going on in the Department of Agriculture. And I will say, I kind of think back to the way I look at our country. We were based on agriculture and farming. I had the good fortune to be born in Minnesota, even though I represent Maine. Both sets of my grandparents were Scandinavian immigrants. They came because there was rich farmland, beautiful opportunities. My grandfather was a dairy farmer. My uncle was a dairy farmer. My cousin still runs a farm and works with livestock. I went to college to study agriculture. I own my own farm today. And I think about, isn't this what America is all about? Knowing your farmer, knowing where your food came from, understanding where the basic principles are of growing, of using our land. What in the world are we talking about? It's as if black is white and white is black and everything is turned upside down. I grew up in Minnesota and Maine, both states that have rich farming heritage, where we couldn't be more proud of the families and the people who work hard on the land. We couldn't be more proud of having vigorous farmers markets, of having people who are able to go to a farm stand and say to the farmer, how did you grow this? What's behind this? Tell me about what's growing in your field. I mean, this is America. This is how our country was built. If there's one tragedy that's going on today, it's the reduction in the number of farms, the families who can no longer hold on to their farms, who their mortgage is being foreclosed on, who they don't have enough markets. If there's anything the Secretary is telling us is we want more people to know about their farms. We want to have local access to farming. We want to have people come to farmers markets. You know, I spend a lot of time visiting school cafeterias, and many of the schools in my district are very engaged with buying food locally. They've realized that if they're going to deal with childhood obesity, one of the things they have to do is get kids to eat more vegetables. And one thing that really works is to have those young people know the farmers. Many schools have a little garden out back. I visited Longfellow Elementary School in Portland, Maine just recently. Those kids have a little plot of carrots. It's not that every lunch has one of those carrots on the menu, but for those kids to say, I grew a carrot, you know, and now I want to eat more of them. I was at the Bonnie Eagle Middle School. They have a little greenhouse, and I sat down to eat with those kids. They were eating kale and garlic. And they were proudly showing it off to me about how they grow kale, about they know where it comes from. Many of them have visited with farmers. They've seen the farmers come by down the road. I can't possibly imagine why anyone would want to put language in that says you have to strike a program like this, that's not even funded, that's just a way of the Secretary saying this is a good American tradition. It's a tradition in North Carolina, I am sure, where people are proud of their farmers, and in Maine, where we are exceptionally proud of the fact that the average age of our farmer is going down. We have more young people who want to go into farming. We have more and more acreage going into farming, which is a reversal of the trend that's been going on in our country for a long time. This is good for our health. It's good for our environment. And fundamentally, this is a jobs bill. You know, that's what we're supposed to be here talking about. And every young person who has an opportunity to go into farming today, every family that gets to hang on to a family farm, increases the number of jobs that are going on in our country. What do we want this to turn into? A big corporate agriculture where everything has to be trucked around the world, where our carrots come from Brazil and our strawberries come from somewhere else in South America and we buy our food from China? I mean, this is America. This is a tradition of our country. How could we possibly think that anything was wrong with promoting or researching local foods, which having a program that just coordinates? Absolutely not.